Welcome to Higher National Diploma in Accountancy, Operation Research, Chapter 5, Inventory Control. Now let's move on to objectives of the lesson. In this chapter, you are going to understand the importance of inventory control or the inventory management, then the types of inventory and the associated cost of inventory. Then we'll move on to economic order quantity. What is economic order quantity? How to calculate it using graphical method as well as using formula. And finally, we are going to have understanding with regard to inventory control levels. Inventory is one of the most expensive assets of many manufacturing firms, representing 50% of its total invested capital. Operational managers must have a balance between the inventory investment and the customer service. Therefore, we need to have a better understanding of the inventory control and inventory management system. Now let's see what are the factors or what are the importance of inventory control. Firstly, it will be enabled to meet the unforeseen future demand. When we have enough stocks in our hand, even though the demand is go up, we may have additional stock in the inventory. Then, when they have enough stock, it will smoothen the production process. There won't be any barriers to operational managers. When we buy in bulk, we can gain economies of scale as well as bulk discounts. Therefore, better inventory control management system will enable to have a good economy in our balance sheet. Then it will be enabled to reduce the loss due to changes in price of inventory items. When we have more stocks, we don't have any issues with regarding the transportation. Even though the time lags, or even though we have to spend more time, like in this situation due to corona, there may be delay in shipments, delay in transportation of goods. If we have enough stocks, we are not afraid of our production process. It will be unstoppable. Then finally, to minimize the losses due to deterioration, obsolescence and damage and pilferage. Now let's move on the types of inventory. Actually, there are three main types of inventory, that is raw material, work in progress and finished goods. Then for these inventory items, there are costs. Mainly in this chapter, we are focusing on the holding cost and the ordering cost. Holding cost is the cost of holding or carrying inventory over the time. It includes the housing cost, material handling cost, labor cost for stockkeeper, then the investment costs such as borrowing, taxes and insurance on inventory, as well as the pilferage, space and obsolescence. Now let's move on to the ordering cost. Ordering cost is the cost of placing an order and receiving goods. Examples for ordering cost include expenses for preparation, a requisition or purchase order, the labor cost of inspection of the goods received, as well as the documentation of administration cost. Now let's move on to the economic order quantity. EOQ is the ideal quantity or the optimum quantity a company should purchase to minimize its inventory cost such as holding cost, ordering cost and storage cost. There are more important assumptions we should remember with regard to EOQ. Firstly, the demand is constant and it is known. The second one is Lead time is also known and it is constant. Thirdly, the receipt of inventory is instantaneous, which means it is just in time, and the full complete order should be received, and no quantity discount involved in. Fifthly, only variable costs are the setup and holding cost. Then there won't be any stock outs. As I previously mentioned, the main objective of EOQ model is to minimize the total cost. Now let's see graphically how it is impact on. When we are taking the annual cost and the order quantity, we know that holding cost involved when the ordering quantity is increases. Depend on the quantity, the holding cost is positive and it is moving to right hand side. Then the ordering cost. Actually, when we order more quantity, the ordering cost is reduced. Therefore, it's gradually declining to the left hand side. Then when we are taking the total cost involved, it is a U shape and the center or the minimized point shows the EOQ, that is the optimum order quantity. This is where the total cost is minimized. Now let's see how to calculate the EOQ using formula. Actually, there are three sets of formulas involved in calculation of EOQ. When we are taking the first formula, you can see it is the root of 2CR divided by PF. Or it can be calculated as 2CR divided by H, where P is the purchase cost and R is the annual usage and C is cost of per order and F is the holding cost factor. As well as this can be calculated in another formula, that is 2DCO divided by CH and its root. Actually, this is the main formula we are used in and we are familiar in our A-levels as well. The D indicate the annual demand and CO indicate the cost of order per order and CH indicate the cost of holding but per unit. Now let's see how to calculate the EOQ using graphical method. There's a company called ABC and it producing and the production required annual demand of 25,000 units. And the ordering cost per order is rupees 1,500 and the holding cost per unit is 3 rupees. Now let's see this table. This table is used to draw the graph by using the graphical method. This quantity indicates the number of units in each order. Annually, they need 25,000 units. But per order, we are ordering 1,000 units, 2,000 units, 3,000 units, 4,000, likewise 10,000 units. Then when we are ordering 1,000 units per order, we have to order 25 unit orders. Now you can see that is calculated by dividing 25,000 by 1,000. Then cost per order indicate it is 1,500. Then when we multiply the cost per order with number of orders, we can get the total ordering cost. The average stock level indicate when we divide the order units by 2. When we are ordering 1000 units per order, the average stock level is 500 units. It indicates that holding cost per unit is 3 rupees. So, to calculate the total holding cost, we have to multiply the average stock level by the holding cost per unit. Accordingly, the total holding cost is 1500. To get the total cost, we have to add the total ordering cost as well as the total holding cost. Based on that method, we have to calculate the number of orders up to 10,000 units per order and the total cost. When we calculate the total cost, you can see that the total cost is minimized by rupees 15,000 at the level of 5,000 units. Economic order quantity is the quantity which minimizes the total cost, which means this 5,000 units should be our EOQ. Now, based on the above table, I have drawn the EOQ graph. To the horizontal line, I have taken the quantity, which means order units, and the y-axis I have indicated the cost. Now you can see the blue line indicate the total holding cost. Holding cost increases when the number of units increases, and the ordering cost decreases per unit when the number of units ordering increases. And you can see the total inventory cost. The total inventory cost is minimized at the unit 5,000. That is our EOQ. Now, let's see how to calculate this using the formula. Now, you can see when we are substituting the figures, we can get 5,000 units as the EOQ. Now, let's move on to the stock levels of inventory or the inventory levels. Mainly in our A levels as well as in the first years, we have used these 4 stock levels: minimum stock level, reorder level, maximum stock level, and the average stock level. These are the formulas we are using to calculate the minimum, reorder, maximum, and average stock levels. Please go through the formula carefully. Now let's see what are the factors taken into account while deciding the minimum stock level. The first time is the lead time. The second one is the rate of consumption, and the third one is the nature of material, and the final one is the reorder level. Likewise, let's look at the factors we are taken into consideration when we are deciding the maximum stock level. First one is the availability of capital or the cash for the firm, and the second one is the maximum requirement of the material on the point, at the point, and the third one is the availability of space. The fourth one is the rate of consumption. The fifth one is the cost to maintain it. The sixth one is the fluctuations in price levels. If the prices are fluctuating frequently, then we have to keep additional stock. Then the final one is the nature of the material. I have taken 2019 question number 4, part 5 to give an understanding with regard into the inventory levels. Now please go through the question carefully. In this question, they are expecting to calculate the EOQ. This EOQ can be used as the reorder quantity as well. Then the reorder level, maximum stock level, safety stock, as well as the optimum cycle time for 365 days as well as 200 days. Now you can see the answer for that question. They have used the second formula method to calculate the EOQ. Then they have get 800 units as the answer. And the second one is reorder level. The reorder level would be 24,000 units and maximum stock level is 23,200 units and the safety stock is 14,500 units. Then the optimum cycle time using 2 days, which means 365 days, then it would be 18.25. However, in the exam, we are going to round up the days because we can't keep the decimal points for days. Then it is 19 days. And when it comes to 200 days, the optimum cycle time would be 10 days. So, you have to remember when you are using the quantity, you have to mention whether it's units or the unit can be in barrels, in tons, then it can be, if it takes tons, it can be bricks. You have to mention the type of the unit. Then when it comes to cycle time, you have to mention whether it's in days, in time. Now please go through the past paper questions with regard to inventory control. And if there is any query, please upload it into the Google Classroom. Thank you.